So, hey, how are you?
Hi, Lance. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about your role in this lovely film called Angel.
In Angel, I play Alexis, who is one of the best friends of Nico, played by writer, director, star extraordinaire Raeann Giles. And I am along for the journey. Basically, it's a girls' weekend out, and we discover some things about ourselves and each other. Um, and we have a good time doing it. So.
So with the kind of the subject matter of the film, uh, I feel like it's coming out like right at the perfect time, with everything that's going on in the world right now with the abortion issue.
Yeah, it is. It's a little serendipitous, actually. It's good timing. It was unintentional, but things always happen the way they're meant to be. And I think that this movie could mean lots of different things to different people, um, regardless if you're a woman or not, right? Or if you identify as a woman or a man, you're going to come away with just a different feeling or reinforcing the feeling you already had. And it is a miscarriage awareness movie, but there are also other elements rolled into it. Each woman in this movie, each character, has a different feeling about pregnancy and children and motherhood and what it means to be a woman, which I think is quite timely.
So how did you actually get the part?
So this is the second time I'm working with Rayanne. We worked some years back on Playdates Anonymous, which was her comedy with we all had children and we were in a play date group, and of course we had conflicting personalities. All the moms in that group did, so that was fun. And then she remembered me when it came time to cast for Angel, and I'm happy she did because she's good people.
She is. You're right. She is. You and both of you guys, you and Rayanne, have this really, really emotional scene in the film. I was there that day. I was downstairs, and while you guys were filming it, you could feel, or I could feel, like something like heavy was happening upstairs. Can you talk about that scene and like how did you go about preparing for it?
I remember this scene well because it was nighttime, not to mention the set was already dark and it felt peaceful and serene. And I think that really helps just to get yourself in a neutral space, especially when you know there's going to be an emotional happening. So it was really a good setting. I'm grateful for it as an actor to be able to be sitting there in such calm. Um, it was Rand's character. It was a lot of her revealing that she had been pregnant, and while I my character was her best friend, there's certain things that you just want to keep for yourself. So I get that her character kept that to herself until she felt the need to reveal it to me, um, and maybe that brings about a little bit of maybe sadness, like maybe I should have held back because all that time in the movie, without giving away too much, I had a different opinion on wanting to have children and wanting to have a household and to be a wife and all that stuff. So perhaps it changes my mind a little bit about how I feel about those certain things when other people are, suffering from loss. So I think it was a very pivotal moment in the scene, not just for Rayanne's character, but for my own.
The film, it's a mostly female cast, and behind the scenes, there were a lot of females there as well. So what was it like? Because I feel like, whenever I've done other things, it's mostly, I guess, a lot more male centric, right? So how did it feel to be kind of surrounded by a lot of women, like doing this movie?
In the words of Beyonce, who run the world, girls, girls. No. Well, I was excited. I love working with everybody, and it's just the spirit you bring and your creativity that you bring to any set, right? But it's true. This one was very female heavy, the cast and also the crew, right? So I always welcome different experiences, and it was really lovely. I think we shared sort of just like that sisterhood bond that naturally comes about when there are women in room, and I certainly appreciated that they're all professional and they're creative and they were fun, and we had and they were in good spirits all the time. That makes it easier. Not every set with a lot of women can be that friendly. Sometimes it's catty, right? You know, that, or that kind of behavior, the feel of competition, and there was none of that. I really enjoyed myself and my experience working on a set with a lot of women.
Being with you on set for the days that I was there, you just had this sort of calm demeanor, like the whole time. Like, how prepared are you when you come onto the set? Because there was no, like, I didn't sense like there was like any sort of hesitation or nervousness or anything like that. You just came on and you knocked it out of the park, and
Oh, thank you. There's always a certain amount of nerves that comes with being on set, regardless of how prepared you are, right? Because you just let go and let sort of what's supposed to come out in your acting. And sometimes that can be scary because you don't know where your feelings are going to go or what your scene partner is going to do that'll make you react in a way that you didn't pre-plan in your head. Um, and sometimes you've not said the words out loud before that day, right? You practice it, or you just, I practice the emotion more so than the lines, but I do come in prepared with the lines because then you're freer to say it or let it come out the way it wants to come out. I do try to be relaxed. I make sure I eat so I'm not hangry and cranky to anybody on set. Very important. Well, right. What, Lance, was I mean to you on set ever?
yes, you were, and I'm here to confront you. No, yeah,
I
no,
must have
you were
eaten the
fabulous.
last bag of chips. I was not mean to you. No, no, no.
No, you're
So I
fabulous.
was,
You're great.
thank you, thank you. No, I was making sure to stay hydrated and to feel good, in my body so that my body is nice and relaxed. Um, and I think it's just a matter of, experience. The more sets an actor is on, the more you realize I'm just being me, being in different circumstances than I'm used to, than Angela, am used to. But I don't ever try to stretch my character necessarily. I just take myself and go meet the character where she's at.
So you have booked quite a few things, and I imagine a lot of them were through like self tapes. So I can just imagine like you're the self tape expert now. So can you give like any sort of tips? Like, do you have a self tape room, or like what are your self tape tips that you can help me out? Heck.
Yeah, I live in an apartment the size of a shoebox. That's LA for you, right? So you pay a good jillion dollars and you get a tiny, tiny, tiny apartment. But I found that the most important thing, I'll give you a couple of important things, sort of rapid fire. But um, when you have a good amount of auditions, it's a pain in the butt to keep putting up a backdrop, setting up the lights, right? Doing all this, especially if you're auditioning 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week. So I converted a walk-in closet into a self-tape room. So it's only 5.5 by 6 feet, but it does the trick. And now I have a 4 light setup, one pointing to the backdrop, one pointing to my hair, just give a hairline and hair light, and then two lights in front of me at 45-degree angles, a key light and a fill light. I know that's more fancy than a lot of actors have, and you don't need anything fancy, but I find this is the setup that works for me. And then I have a camera with a front-facing mic on sort of a clamp that I just pull from the side and place in front of me. And if I have a reader, as 2 years of pandemic, sometimes you have a reader that's just on Zoom or on your phone. And I have another clamp with an arm that pulls right next to the camera so I can look at somebody's face. And now when I have to do a tape, I just walk into that room, flip on the lights, and the camera is rolling, and I'm ready to go. It makes it so much easier than having to deal with the stress of the tech. And then just with self tapes, knowing just hit record on the camera and live your life before you even start the lines, before you start the scenes. What activity are you doing, right? Because you're going to be editing it afterwards anyway, and it just feels more natural when you're living life and having a conversation versus now I'm staring at the camera and now I'll start my lines. That's always helped me, and I feel like the more I watch my tapes, all the tapes that I do, I that's one thing that I will always do for myself is start from somewhere.
I've asked a lot of people that question, and those are two great tips. That's awesome.
Thanks, thanks. I have more. We can grab a drink later and talk about it.
There we go. There we go. And then just the final question that I'd love to absolutely ask everybody is, what's been your worst audition ever?
Ah, okay. Okay. I've heard some horror stories, by the way, but for me, I'd have to go pretty way back when we were still doing in the room auditions, and this was for I think like a kind of like a catty nighttime drama with a bunch of women, and I don't know, it was fun. I know what the title is, but I don't want to say it because it might give away The Office.
Right.
It will give away The Office. And the cast director brings me in, and I'm just very, hi there, thanks for having me in, and or like, hi there, good afternoon to you, or like just something super simple. And it was met with a nah, like she didn't want to talk. That's cool. I don't really like to get chatty before an audition either. It's more just to be personable. And we go into the room, and she just is not having a good day or a good time. And right when we start my scene, she wasn't wanting to read with me, I guess, or like she just wasn't in the mood. I mean, she wasn't picking up her lines at all or the cues, so then it was throwing me off, and then I had to stop it, and I never stop myself at an audition, right? But it was just, it wasn't happening, so I stopped it and said something like, oh, I'm sorry, I think I wasn't quite getting the rhythm there. I put the blame sort of on myself because I didn't want to be like, hey lady, pay attention. That was what my mind was saying, because that casting director was not paying attention, to the point where I honestly thought maybe she was like intoxicated or something. Yeah, and I'm not even joking. I was like, I think there's something medically happening. I didn't know, and it made me feel uncomfortable. But we just gave the scene another go, and sometimes that happens. As prepared as I wasn't prepared for that, and I think it was a good lesson to learn in that you never know what you're going to walk to in a room, and to just do it as best as you can, and then get out of there and just say thank you and get out of there. And if that role wasn't meant to happen for whatever reason, for whose ever fault it was, then it wasn't meant to happen. But you kind of can't hang on to that all day long or all week long. You just got to keep moving forward. I'm so sorry if you recognize yourself, Ms. Casting Director. I don't know what happened that day, but I am not judging, and I am hoping we can all learn a lesson from it.
Well, Angela, thank you so much for chatting with me, and I think you're great. You're great in the movie, and yeah, I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for having me, Lance. It was so wonderful meeting you in the movie, and I'm glad we got to chat today too.